And we're back here once again with another episode of the Cloud9 podcast, season 17, episode 3. So I hope you guys had a great day and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the Cloud9 podcast, we are going to be talking about Lyon clap FlyQuest, Karmine Corp defeat Team Vitality, and G2 Esports sweep MKOI. And if you are wondering what happened to the Cloud9 podcast on Spotify, because I usually had it paired on the MSK show account that I have on, the whole Spotify for creators. So what ended up happening was, Spotify for creators now allows you to have, two separate podcasts on there. So before it was just you're only allowed to have one. So I thought to myself, you know what? It's just better if the shows are separated on there. That way, if you want to just watch a show where we talk about esports, well, pretty much just law esports, but esports in general, or traditional sports, whether it be when we're talking about the NBA or the NFL, that would be what just this show is, right? And then if you want to, listen to the MSK show, which talks about movies, video games, anime, TV, all that stuff, then you have it for that. Yeah, I know it's going to hurt like the numbers that I had on the show because the Cloud9 podcast did bring in a lot of numbers actually, but it's just better long term if they're separated. So don't worry, I'm going to update the description box below so that way, if you can't watch an episode of the Cloud9 podcast live, you could just, download it on Spotify and, listen to it when you're commuting back and forth from work, or whether you're at the gym, or you're gonna obviously listen to us when you're at home on your second monitor, or listening to us when you're at home, like watching your kids. So also Warren is gonna be here for this episode of the Cloud9 podcast. I haven't talked to Warren in a bit, but how you doing, man? It's been a while.
Doing great.
Yeah. Why you sound like you're dead? What happened, man?
Actually had a cold. No, I'm doing good. I just been busy with work and the gym and just a lot of things been changing. Back to office 4 days a week, so a lot of my free time at night, like I could stay up, is kind of cut. So weekends are, but other than that, everything's good. It's just going a little bit slower. That's it.
Okay, so essentially, just like the weekends is where you have like your free time. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah. I try not to stay to like maybe 1 a.m. pushing it a little bit after one, but like 1:30 the latest. But yeah, that's kind of why. Because if I could work from home, it would have been no problem. But now that they want us 4 days a week, it's not. Gotta follow the rules. So
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna also ask you if you want to start the show earlier, like 7 p.m. PST, whenever I can have you on, or depending on what happens like next week, because I'm gonna have to essentially talk to a bunch of different people in like this kind of format to see like what we're gonna do about covering league moving forward. So if you want to do the show like 7 p.m. PST, that's fine too, because that would be a little bit more easier on your schedule because you are already pushing it, starting it this late. But that's up to you, man. If you want to start it
yeah, that
then.
could work. Yeah, yeah. Like a 10:30 start would be fine.
Okay, all right.
Like
So
a half hour earlier.
so I wanted to ask you this because we haven't got a chance to talk about this stuff, because the last time you were on the other show, we were talking about how shitty women are, and people just don't like that. Apparently, if you talk about how shitty women are, people get a little mad about that, and it's like, all right, you want to live in La La Land and pretend women are just like saints? Sure, go and do that. Not me. I'm not getting fooled. But I want to ask you, since Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out, do you have any are you like not excited going into that movie, or are you just kind of like, I don't know, or are you excited to watch it?
So I'm excited. I just want to know the biggest question marks is what Sadie Sink character and what Ned Leeds is gonna be,
Yeah,
because with the mind wipe that happened in Far From Home, not Far From Home. Oh my God, I
No
missed
Way Home.
No Way Home. Sorry.
It's okay.
Um, with the mind wipe, we know that Ned Leeds was the Hobgoblin, and so far confirmed is Tombstone and Scorpion. So
Mhm.
the same guy that played Tombstone in Into the Spider Verse, they got the same voice actor, and it was like, you sound good, we like you, we're gonna make you Tombstone. So That's kind of what they're doing. So, I'm kind of got a little question mark because you're gonna have Punisher, you're gonna have Hulk in there, Sadie Sink, which we don't know if she's Jean Grey apparently.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's the rumor. So that's it's a lot going on, and you know I think the first teaser trailer would be nice. I noticed that Disney has been kind of like sending out these teases with like shoots and stuff, and like it's already going to be March, and we haven't even gotten one teaser of a Avengers Doomsday outside of the four little things. And it's like, okay, cool, but that's not the real story, right? That's not even actually in the movie. That those all four of those trailers that we saw aren't actually in the movie. So, that's kind of my thing about
Right.
like what's going on. But Sadie Sink is the question mark, and Ned leads for me.
So for me, I think it also comes down to, how we hear about like Spider-Man movies throughout the years, like Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield's like final movies in their Spider-Man series. Like this is the same type of announcements that I was hearing about those movies that gave me like those red flags. Like you hear about movies like that with superhero movies, and it just starts to feel like it's very overcrowded, like when you're talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, because I don't know if you know what that comic book series is. It was after One More Day, but and Tombstone
I
too.
do.
You do, right? So do you know the Tombstone? Because I haven't read it, but I do know what the Tombstone story is. And Tombstone's actually a really cool, interesting Spider-Man villain. I actually really like that character a lot. I'm glad he's finally going to be on the big screen. But it's also another thing of like how much screen time is this movie really going to be balancing out with everything? So like you said before, Hulk's in it, Tombstone, Scorpion, which we haven't seen that guy since what, Homecoming. Essentially, he's finally going to be Scorpion. Actually, like whatever the hell Sadie Sink's character is going to be. Like I don't know. It kind of feels like potentially, because I'm not saying the movie will have it or it won't. I'm saying the way it's coming off to me is like kind of feels like they're going to be juggling a lot, you know? So, also, if you guys don't know, the whole Brand New Day storyline is essentially it comes after One More Day. They had a bunch of creators and different, artists and writers tackle Spider-Man. Namely, the biggest one is Dan Slott there. And he's also the guy, I think, that wrote that Insomniac Spider-Man PS4 game that a lot of you guys liked, actually. So, you know, I know they're going to be doing a new Brand New Day comic book series that is also tied into that period and point in time in Spider-Man's comic book history. Which is odd because I don't they still think for some reason that like if you release like a superhero movie and it's got a specific name attached to it, that is going to correspond with like generating comic book sales. And it's like I don't really think that's ever been the case. Actually, like the people going to watch the movie don't care about what happens in the comic books. People who like read comic books already know the movie's coming out, when it's going to come out, and they're already going. So there's always been a massive disconnect between all that stuff. But that's just me. I mean, No Way Home, I did like No Way Home. I wasn't the hugest fan of Homecoming. I for sure was the hugest fan of Far From Home, but No Way Home, I did enjoy. So I hope Brand New Day is going to be something good. And I'll ask you about the other one before we hit. Oh no, because we had yeah, we'll do Doomsday. We'll do Doomsday, and then we'll do Wonder Man, and then we'll do the stuff. So Doomsday, are you excited or not excited to see that one coming up?
I'm excited because we're gonna get new actors, and we're gonna get like a lot of people don't understand that we're gonna get an actual Doom. RDJ is not going to say Doom; it's just for the story purposes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get an actual Doom. We're gonna get new people recast for roles because like Hugh Jackman's getting old, RDJ is getting old. So there's a lot of recasting that's gonna. So I'm excited in that regard. I'm excited to see the comic accurate X-Men. I'm excited to see, the X-Men finally with the Avengers and Fantastic Four, seeing like all these deals finally paid through, and also I know it's going to be very underrated. I think the most exciting thing is to finally see the recast of Black Panther because that was a criminal that we
Oh yeah, I
um
agree. Hmm.
so to me, that's the biggest thing. Like when we see whoever that Black Panther is on screen, I think that's gonna get a crowd yell. Like, cause I think a lot of folks been wanting a solid. Like, don't get me wrong, the actress that played Shuri, the storyline was okay, but it felt like you were watching a glorified funeral with Wakanda Forever, right? So
Hmm.
like, and again, the movie was named Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. It wasn't named like Black Panther 2, like The
Yeah.
Rise of Namor or something. So Doomsday is really good. I like that they're back to two movies a year. So and they're kind of like not also. I know I kind of ranted earlier, but them not leaking much has been good so far. So we'll see because I know once those trailers drop, they're probably gonna hit the millions at least.
Mhm.
So I'm excited for sure. Um, and like I think Doctor Doom is actually in hindsight going to be a bit better because you can kind of then, if you want, you can pivot back to Kang, you can pivot to Maestro, you can pivot to a lot of other characters too. So I think it was actually a good move. It just sucks for Jonathan Majors, which I think he still talked to Kevin Feige, had a little chat with him. So we don't know what his future is going to be, but that's my overall opinion.
Oh, WZ, he wanted to ask you this. Legend has it that Warren is still waiting on his Trump check. What is this? What is he saying?
So Trump promised a 2K check,
I
and we're
remember
gonna get it.
that.
We're gonna get it. He's kept his word on other things. We're gonna get it.
Yep. Oh, you so, Warren silenced his mic before he was finishing his thing. Uh, I don't know if we're gonna get it. I hope we do. I mean, hey, I'll take it. If Trump's giving out these tariff checks to people, I'll take them. I'll be honest here. I will take the money. I heard Showmonger mention that Kang could show up in Doomsday, though. I will say when it comes to Doomsday, it feels like they're going to be juggling a lot. I know there's the rumored run time, which is supposed to be about 3 hours long. I mean, Endgame was pretty much like 3 hours long. I mean, if you really think about it, like when you factor in like previews and credits and all that stuff. So I mean, I would like if Doomsday is only like 2 hours and 30 minutes, but is it really going to be like 2 hours and 30 minutes? Probably not. It's going to be pushing it. It's going to be at least 2 hours, 50 minutes. And then when you factor in previews and post
And
credits,
critics.
it's going to be a 3 hour movie anyway. So
Yep.
I just hope it's, I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay. So it could go one of two ways for me. Either it could be like Infinity War or it could be Endgame, and then Secret Wars could be like Infinity War Endgame. Because looking back now, dude, like looking back at it now after Endgame and Infinity War came out, which one do you think is better in your mind? Would it be Infinity War or Endgame? Like the
It
overall
definitely.
better movie?
I think Infinity War was overall
Yeah,
better because you
yeah,
were getting four stories, but we were getting four stories that had build up prior.
true. Yeah.
Whereas like Endgame had a slow build up for like about 45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So my thing now is like I if the way I quantify them in my mind is Infinity War is an overall better movie minus the issues I had with it. Endgame is just a better spectacle, if that makes sense to people. So, oh, and the last thing I'll ask you, MCU wise, Wonder Man. Did you end up watching that? Did you like it at all?
No, have no opinions. Okay, so my personal opinion, Simon Williams is not a character I personally care for. Don't hate the character. Don't care that he's black. Don't care that he's white. They even kind of showed. There was a picture of the white Wonder Man. So don't really care what color the man Wonder Man. Well, Wonder Man is not like some a character that is, you know, essential to the like he's an Avenger, right? But he's not essential to the Marvel universe. So no real opinions. I will watch it eventually. I heard a lot of people said it was good for what it was, so I'll take that. Um the only thing I kind of started watching was, well, I won't talk about that. Yeah, so Wonder Man I haven't watched to answer your question.
Oh, no, you're good. What other things superhero wise to cover? DC. I don't think I ever got your opinion on Superman. Did you eventually go see James Gunn's Superman movie? Did you like
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I liked that Superman. I think the problem is that the Snyder folks. And also, I think this whole superhero fatigue is overblown, so people aren't going to go see a movie. And then also, Superman is overused, sadly, because he's such a huge IP, right?
Hmm.
Which, how many times have I talked on many of people's streams that I think that they're not utilizing DC characters, which to the point now that in the Superman movie, Mr. Terrific stand out the most. There was so many people were clamoring about like this black guy and what he did and how, like how smart and how he was fighting. And Mr. Terrific really stole the show for
You did.
Superman.
Yeah.
So
Which shouldn't happen in a Superman movie. It's like the
no,
biggest thing
not
people talk
a
about is yeah.
and that actor got redeemed too because he was Darwin in the X-Men movies, X-Men Days of First Class, and he got killed, and Darwin was like an important, like Darwin's super strong, and they just killed him off. So kill, and to see that he got like a redeemed like character, kind of like Chris Evans,
Mhm.
is great, and they plan to do more with Mister Terrific. So I liked Superman. I liked Fantastic Four when I saw it. I think a lot of the problem is that we we need we need the big names and we don't have the big names, and I think uh once we get some of the big names back we'll see
Mhm.
what happens. Like, so I think that's the real, I don't think it's fatigue. I think it's just they just need good storytelling and just quality.
Yeah. Supergirl. Excited for that one? Not excited for that one?
I'm excited.
Okay.
Different character, different story. Looks to be more depressing in a sense. So we don't get that happy go lucky, which we get a different side. And
Mhm.
I like the fact that we're gonna see Jason Momoa as Lobo, and
Finally. Yeah. Good lord.
so I'm excited for that too. I'm excited for the Green Lantern show as well that's coming out
That's coming
as
out.
well.
Yeah. And then you have Clayface. That
And then
ends the year. Yeah.
yeah, so I think DC's in the right direction. I know the new acquisition with Netflix. I'm not sure if that fully went through because there's like a battle. I don't remember. I wasn't keeping up.
Oh, so essentially they allowed Paramount one more chance at an offer, and they're apparently reviewing that, and then we'll know what they think about Paramount's offer, whether they reject it or accept it, and what's going to happen. So that's what we're waiting on. Apparently, they allowed Paramount one more offer to be like, hey, you really want us? You got to really spice it up here. And it's like, I think both Paramount and Netflix buying Warner Brothers, whichever company ends up getting Warner Brothers, it's going to be pros and cons all around the board. Like, because and the very last thing I'll ask, comic book wise, are you reading anything comic book wise? Do you have a pull list or anything? Or are you just waiting for
Uh,
trades or collected editions?
right now I'm actually enjoying the Absolute Universe, Absolute
All the
Batman.
titles are just Batman.
Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman,
Oh, okay.
Absolute Superman. I don't know if there's any others. Those three I've been kind of keeping up with through videos and through when I go to the comic book store. And I'm also loving DCKO. I didn't watch, we didn't read the last, um, the Final Four fight. I don't know if it's out yet between
Yeah.
Joker versus
It
Wonder
was Red
Woman
Hood.
and
Yeah.
and and Lex Luthor versus Superman. I thought that was a great idea. I think they that's very creative of like using the NCAA tournament and having like a KO and involving like
Yeah.
the way they did. I think that was very creative, and I think that's a good sign for DC in the direction. So those are the only two reading. Marvel, I can't say I'm reading anything right now, to be honest with you, at all.
I know they started a brand new run for Joshua Williamson. He was writing Iron Man, and I know people really like Spider Man Wolverine. I only read issue ones of both. I did enjoy those, but tomorrow Iron Man issue 2 comes out, and I hope hopefully that this Iron Man series with Joshua Williamson is pretty good. Hopefully it continues. I really enjoyed issue 1, so hopefully issue 2 can keep the momentum going. Did y'all see the clip from that award show? Someone screaming the N word. Oh yeah, oh good lord, man. I wish I cared enough about award shows, honestly. I wish I did, but I don't, sadly. But I know a lot of people right now are virtue signaling to like the black community because that's what you do, and if you're in Hollywood, you kind of virtue signal to black people about a bunch of bullshit. But I always thought these people always cared about people with disabilities too, because the person has a disability. This is not something that you can control, right? So it's just crazy to see all the different opinions on it right now. But like if anyone thought, you know, these people that apparently virtue signal for black people were gonna change their opinion for the guy with a disability, you guys know my opinions about that stuff. They weren't gonna do that. So all right, so we're gonna cover the LCS first. And as you guys know, for the LCS, I've been trying to basically just keep up with all the games. Actually, let me make sure I make this more bigger right now. All right, so essentially for the LCS, Cloud9 is the best team, and there's really not any other team that could like truly challenge them. In my own personal opinion, like every series just kind of feels like they just kind of cruise straight through most of the teams. I will say that Sven and Vulcan, mostly Sven, like Vulcan is usually fine outside of lane. I'd imagine when they get to first stand that the big question mark for Cloud9 is going to be their bot lane's laning phase, because like Cloud9's bot lane has been getting kind of consistently 2v2 killed very early in the game, which can be a big problem if you're facing off against, LPL or LCK teams. But uh just looking at how Cloud9 has actually advanced, it looks like whoever they face in the finals is just going to get beaten 3-0 or 3-1. So there's a good chance that they could actually complete the perfect playoff run in the winners bracket. Just 9-0 sweeps across the board. So Cloud9 ended up 3-0ing FlyQuest, which is crazy because Cloud9 actually picked FlyQuest, and people thought FlyQuest should have been second place based off of how the regular season went, but it turns out the Sentinels got it for a different reason. But I'm going to be honest here with you guys. Outside of Cloud9, currently right now for the LCS 2026 lock-in, every other team is just a question mark, in my opinion. Like, there's some good in some of these teams, like some decent players, but most of these teams are actually pretty bad, in my opinion. And I think that's going to be the problem with Cloud9 at first stand. Not like a problem of theirs, but it's going to be a potential problem that keeps rising up. This also happened a lot with FlyQuest last year, where they were getting a lot of bad habits from playing in the LCS, and it was a lot of bad habits constantly piling up. And then when they played internationally, they just really couldn't overcome those issues because, in the LCS, you can't overcome those issues, but internationally, you have to kind of deal with those issues, and you either can put a band-aid on those problems, or you're going to get exposed by the LCK and LPL teams. So hopefully Cloud9 can do better than FlyQuest did with that last year, but who knows? We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it, when we talk about first stand later on and who might actually be there. But Cloud9 beat
we know that we know that Gen G's now has qualified. So
Gen G's qualified, yeah. And Cloud9's going to be there, right? I think because they beat Sentinels, they're going to be there, right?
No. So the reason why Gen G qualified is because LPL, because they did well at MSI and Worlds, one of the two, they get 2 spots. That's why.
You're right. Yeah. So I think when they said Cloud9 qualified, they meant they potentially can qualify for first stand or that America's Cup. So apparently they're going to do this.
The Esports Cup in Dubai, right? I think.
Yeah, so there's going to be an America's Cup for basically second through third and CB LOL second and third seeds. It would be like last year when they did because people have always asked for those tournaments. They're like, hey, can we see these other teams play against each other? And I'm not ever going to be one of those guys that says like, oh, these tournaments don't matter and shit like that. I think it all matters. I do think winning matters personally, but tournaments like that where you're asking for second and third place teams to play against each other when the more prestige events going on, I would tell you guys that doesn't matter. Like I'll point it out. Like last year when they had that little small like tournament before Worlds, and it was like DK and Weibo and all those teams. It's like, people gotta understand, if you're not making Worlds, these guys probably don't want to be on the same team with each other anymore. The coaching staffs are going to change. All this is going to change. It's like that right there is meaningless. Like at that point, all that mattered in that moment is making Worlds. But if you want to count these as like for fun tournaments, so more teams get exposure, that's fine. But the America's Cup is going to be just basically second and third LCS and second and third CB LOL teams competing. Now, it's going to be, pretty interesting. Who knows? We'll have to see how it goes. But FlyQuest just got obliterated by Cloud9, just absolutely obliterated. Sentinels played a very close series against DSG. Then you had the losers bracket. You had Lyon beating FlyQuest, so FlyQuest's season is over. Then you had Team Liquid 3-0 DSG, so DSG's season is over. Then you had Cloud9 face off against Sentinels, and Cloud9 just 3-0'd Sentinels. And then now Cloud9 is in the finals, and they are awaiting whoever wins the matchup between Sentinels and whoever is the winner of Lyon and Team Liquid. So we should probably start with the biggest surprise to a lot of people, which is going to be FlyQuest. FlyQuest came off of their dominant 2025 year when it was called just like the LTA, but let's be honest about that's just the LCS, honestly. So the biggest problem when it comes to a FlyQuest, in my opinion, is it basically boils down to what I talked about earlier today, actually. Oh my goodness. Dude, why has this got a motorcycle just plowing through my house? Good lord. I'm sorry, guys. There's this person on a little motorbike just going through. Sorry about that. But I'll ask you before we start covering FlyQuest, these other teams. What do you think about the LCS currently?
I think. Sorry about that.
Very good.
Reaching for the button. I think the LCS is in like a kind of a rebuild phase, sort of like how LEC was for like probably 2 years, because you got to remember that like, TL was it was either TL, FlyQuest, and I think I'm trying to remember like the fourth org that was, and maybe I don't want to say Dig, right, but yeah, it was those three, and I think right now, with them changing their budgets, with older players staying, with now the LTA, now from LTA to LCS, it's a lot of changes, and we're seeing a lot of new faces. Right? There's not many relics that are around outside of what Impact. So like he's like like one of the remaining old guards.
I guess
But
now wouldn't Vulcan be considered like an old
yeah,
guard at this
yeah,
point
yeah.
now?
Vulcan.
Probably,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
actually, yeah. Vulcan, Sven, Hui. They're part of the old guards, but like it's sort of dwindling, right? So we're getting new talent, new people. APA is now like a veterans in a sense. So I think it's just a transition and it's a weird phase, and we don't have another team that's like iconic yet because I don't. You're not gonna have people like I'm a DSG fan, like or and Sentinels. They're pretty popular in the FPS, genre. So I could see that maybe next year they might make some big moves if they get a good. I mean, considering that they're a new org in a sense and they've made it this far, whatever happens, they've already overachieved, right? Because I think not many people probably had them even making the playoffs. I would assume at the beginning of the season, at least compared to say other teams. And I think with the addition of APA, you have someone that's stable and consistent, and Thanatos Blabber are really your rock. So I think that's why.
Mhm.
So and then the loss of Busio was I think the biggest thing. I think losing Bippo was fine, whatever, because maybe they felt, with the controversial comments or whatever. That's a whole nother story, which I don't, I have no. I think that was overreacted because we all know how
No, we're gonna get into
European.
that. No, no, I agree. We'll get into it. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
continue. Sorry.
So I think that was overreacted. But I also think that Busio, the fact now, also think about it this way: they poached
Mhm.
JoJo, they poached Busio. Remember, way back years ago, EU LCS LEC said we would never take NNA players. Cody Sun was the first person. Remember, he started in EU Masters because Cody
Yeah.
Sun
You
went
remember
over.
when Niski came back to Fnatic and self-made in that Fnatic video was like, "Why are we poaching players from NA?" It's like, "Oh my god."
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact, and now Caps has admitted plenty of times now that JoJo is probably the best laner he's fought against in LEC, and that's
Mhm.
kind of high praise because Caps has a myriad of accomplishments, and Busio and Kalist have been pretty good. So I think NA is kind of they've lost a lot of talent, and we need to get back some good talent. So it looks like we're bad, but like they're gonna those two players went where the money went, right? I'm sure they had big offers. So it's a weird state we're in, but I think it's healthy because we can get new talent because there's not many old players. There's really not. So that's
Yeah.
the positives. It's gonna suck, right? Because we but
And the old players that we have or we did have in the LCS are in the NACL, and those are players that if they come up are just considered paycheck stealers. So, and you know how I feel about those kind of players. Like, if you bring those players up, you can bring up like one or two, but having a full roster of those players is just going to be a last place team. It's just better if you just kind of keep those guys in ACL because you're not adding anything to the league, bringing back Fate God. You know what I mean? You're not
Right.
adding anything to the league, bringing back tactical. We know the ceiling of those players is just not going to work. And we'll go into the Whipple situations. And that was why I wanted to go over FlyQuest first before that fucking FAG drove his motorcycle past my house, loud as fuck. So you guys remember last year, they had Gatgos play in some of the FlyQuest games when they were the best team. So, if he's in the top lane and you have Inspired and Quad and Masu and Busio, you're going to be fine. There is this thing about playing top lane where sometimes you don't really have to do much other than
Just to
just
be
like,
serviceable.
just survive and be serviceable. So, and keep in mind, he was getting laughed at for how bad his Rumble ults were. And keep in mind, my Rumble ults are just as bad. But he wasn't that good when they had Whippo, get subbed out for him. Like, he wasn't even really that good. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to be your replacement because, Papa Smithy's always talked about, yeah, we should build a pipeline of talent coming up, which I agree with. But if you're going to be doing that, you have to pick people with some level of talent. And I'm not saying that I could be better than this guy. I'm not saying that. But it's like, if you're going to be building up talent, can it be in someone that actually shows some promise? Because, like, even when Gackos would sub in for Whippo, when he did, I didn't see anything significantly awesome there to warrant this guy being in the LCS. And then the Inspired situation, like Warren brought up, where apparently in this day and age, people are such big fucking pussies, they can't take any level of like getting called out. So FlyQuest went, hey, let's just kind of downgrade our entire roster, taking away Whippo because the controversy, like you said, and I don't agree with it, like you said, and Inspired because he's a little too mean. You can't have a guy being a little too mean. We got to get rid of him. We can do better than him.
But
It's
the
like,
thing is,
fuck.
don't mean to interrupt you. Just really
You're good.
quick.
You're good. Go ahead. You're good.
I think the problem we have here is that this is not. We've known from a long time that EU players speak their mind, not being
He was
malicious.
known
To
to
just
do that. And
like
he was
this is
known to do
known.
that though.
Perks has
Yeah.
even done this. So why is this a new thing? I think, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, people are just cupcakes. They can't handle it.
Yeah, what's worse about it is like I could see if it went like the level of Dardoch where it completely mentally imploded people like Forgiven and Dardoch. Understandable. There has to be some level of like a balance between the two. You can't be overly nice, you can't be super mean. There's got to be some balance. And keep in mind, so FlyQuest thought if they got rid of their best players, because be honest with you guys, for the most part, because Warren's been watching almost as long as I have, FlyQuest has always been known as like shit quest. They were
Or
never really ever good ever,
they
except for
they
like last
they
year
were
and the year before.
they started to ramp up around 2020 when they made Worlds, with Wild
Oh yeah, you're
Turtle,
right. You're right.
Puffy.
It was that. Yeah.
They start, and then they made finals again, 2021, but Cloud9 beat them. So they were ramping up. They were getting more sponsors. So FlyQuest is one of those orgs that's kind of started like Rogue, but took a while to finally get there,
Mhm.
and they started getting the players that they needed. I
In
just think that
2024, the LCS Summer Split, that was the first time they actually won a title. They've been here since 2017. So like what, 7, almost 8 years it took to win their first title in
yeah,
the LCS. That was with Inspired. They won their first title. And I told people this when we were doing the show. It's like, there's going to be people that are going to have the kind of personality Inspired has. There's going to be people that have the personality that maybe Masu has. All of it can work. All of it can coexist. But this line of thinking that if he's just calling you out and telling you, hey, you need to do a little bit more, I feel like I'm doing everything, then that should be listened to. And people got mad. Well, he called them NPCs. Well, it's like, guys, was Inspired wrong? FlyQuest just faced their former jungler a few days ago, and clap probably isn't even the word. He completely they actually straight up beat the actual shit out of them. I'm talking like, guys, you know how hard it is to get 20k goldies on this patch? Given how much shutdown golds and how much things give you back and shit and everything, how much items cost now. You know how hard it is to get 20k goldies? That means you were losing at pretty much since the game began, which is disgustingly bad, right? So what is it? And I actually asked people, what? And keep in mind, people act like when Inspired was being this way, they were, no, guys, they were the best team. Like they were just the best team when he was apparently
Yeah,
being
he
this
just
mean.
has a competitive nature, and like again,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
some people take it like, to me, if I was on a, like, if I'm on a good team and my player is calling me out, yeah, it sucks. But if if he's legitimately pointing out, have a checklist and pointing out everything, at some point you just gotta say, you know, either you man up and you be like, either man up, or you also accept the challenge and say, you know what, inspired, I'll prove you wrong, and then he'd be like, you know what, next interview he has, he's like, so and so improved really well. Like, that's kind of how you have to accept it. Like, you can't just, like, you're a professional player. You're not in the NACL. You're not in the college scene. You're not in high school. You're a professional player, and you're at least 18 plus. You've probably said more awful things in solo queue chat. So you're telling me you can't handle your own player telling you what you should do and how you should be, and step up?
And I agree. I'll just add to your point. Was Inspired wrong with how they
No,
played? Like looking at the games we just saw, was he wrong about Masu and Quad? Doesn't look like it. It kind of looks like if no one really kind of tells them what to do, they kind of just sit there like in PCs, and people always get mad at that. It's like, but he's being too mean. Guys, these people sit on their fucking chairs and play video games. Me and you got to go to our jobs every day and work. Oh, boo hoo. Someone yelled at you. All the horror. Oh, all the horror. Oh my God! Someone yelled at you. Well, tough fucking luck. That's life, buddy. You people yell at people, and it's not even in like you said. Sometimes it's not just yelling because I don't like you. It's like they're passionately talking to you that way because they care a
they
lot
want to
about
win.
what's going on. You know, so it's not like, hey, I'm yelling at you because I just don't fucking like you. Because that's just that right there. You could have a okay, dude. That's not cool. But the way you're talking about it, that's fine. It's like I love how people apparently love Michael Jordan but don't understand that Michael Jordan was not a good person to be around when the Bulls were winning, you know? And keep in mind, guys, he ended up becoming like considerably, arguably the best player of all time. He wasn't a pleasant person to be around. Didn't he sort of punch someone in one of
Yeah,
their
Steve
games?
Kerr, Steve Kerr. He like
He
punched
wasn't a
you.
nice person to
He
be around.
he
Remember the story
punched
about
you.
Kobe Bryant? Do you guys think Kobe Bryant was a good person to be around when the Lakers were fucking winning everything? Shaq says it too. Kobe was a crazy person, but they won. And keep in mind, you guys always tell me this. All that matters is winning. Well, FlyQuest won everything last year with him. Is that that's all that matters to you? Then why does it matter if he yells at them? And he was
Also,
right. But
I think that, like, Busio saw the writing on the wall when you don't
oh
have
yeah.
Inspired and Bwipo, which are really creative players,
Hmm.
and like you're replacing them. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna get an offer to a team, because let's be honest, right? KC has a better chance of making a world run than if Busio stayed on FlyQuest.
Hmm.
That's there's no debate. Like, if you put up FlyQuest team right now and Busio on KC, so I think that was the move. But I think FlyQuest is going to be on a rebuild. They're probably going to try to sign someone huge after this. Maybe, depending on how they do after MSI, because I'll get to my opinions of first stands personally and all these tournaments, because it's kind of hypocritical. But I'll be a critiquing about that later. But
Warren being nice. Oh my god, he's turning to leaf, guys. He turned 40. He's like, I'm being nice to you kids now these days. You're all too stupid.
oh, you know it.
Oh god. Well, so and that's my thing now. Is like FlyQuest brings in. Let me make sure I get the player's name. It was their new jungler. His name is like Griffin or something. Guys, Griffin wasn't even good on Loud last year. Griffin, he was on Loud last year. He wasn't even good. So Gakkos and Griffin, players that already kind of showed last year they weren't good. Cryogen, I'll be honest, I don't know too much about this guy and his prior teams to really speak about him, but their team just kind of looks really bad. And Warren is correct in an aspect. They could improve throughout the year. That is very possible. We are only just in March. We still got a lot of more months of league to play. A lot of more tournaments too. I agree. But looking at it right now, this is looking like, unless they do a complete 180, this is going to be like another year
Yeah,
where it looks like it will be a year that FlyQuest would have back in like 2021, 2017,
I think they're boot
2018, years like that.
camping. Whatever boot camping they decide to do, or whatever they decide to do right now as teams that enter the wild during first
Mhm.
stand, is going to matter. I think also they were thinking that it was gonna be an easy ride, and that like they also could have just plainly disrespected Lion. Like I think they probably disrespected Lion and didn't think that they were gonna be put up a challenge at all, and that was gonna
Dude,
be
did you see how
easy.
bad Griffin was playing? That guy straight up ran it down harder than dudes doing solo queue. He first jungler ever to go 0-8. Dude, that's worse than the Spica game. Remember Spica? He had like 0-6 on a Vi game. That guys, that was bad. Then this,
That's
how
like
do you
Blabber going after Scuttle Crab 4 times.
don't remind me of those things, man. Holy shit! It's like I like in FlyQuest we know is I don't usually like using that word woke. I know it's really overplayed. FlyQuest has done some very questionable woke things, hiring that Looney Troon to be on their Counter Strike team. If you guys don't see that, this is a completely just weirdly cringely woke org. I would never support bullshit in that org. And they're like, oh, we can't have the guy who's mean. We can't have Bwippo because it wasn't even his fault. He didn't really say anything that bad. He was answering a question from what someone else said, and it's completely out of context for how people thought about what he said. And they're like, we can't have you mean, misogynistic men in our team. We can do better. No, you can't. You do better. You're actually terrible. You fucking suck. God, every game was a 20K goal. You know how bad you must have been getting shit stomped? Guys, watch those games. That's the worst series I've seen in years. It's been a hot minute. Every
Yeah,
game, 20K
it's been
gold.
pretty bad.
They were getting literally, if you watch like porn, you watch like fisting porn, you're just getting fisted.
Okay,
Just
next, please. Thank you.
I forgot Warren's old now. He can't do it anymore. It's okay. But so yeah, I'll ask you, man. Who do you think challenges Cloud9 in the finals, though?
Well, it's probably gonna be Lion. They beat the
I don't think Team
second.
Liquid's good either, honestly. I
No, they're not. They're cheap. They're cheap. And when I say
Bro,
cheap,
they imported Morgan. You know that was
Uh,
an L.
well, what I mean by cheap, guys, I don't mean cheap as the organization cheap. I'm saying they're not. They've learned their lessons from spending money on these big names that they're trying to allocate their resources now and try to actually get talent more than just say, "Hey, pay me, take my money." So they're trying to roll it back and see how they if they hit the jackpot with like a rookie or something. So when I say cheap, that's what I mean. But could this be? I think this is a five. I think this could probably be either a 3-1 or a possible 5 games. Just depends on whoever wins game two is probably if Lion wins game two and how they perform, probably Lion 3-1. But if TL can strike back and keep winning, they could probably win it because we know TL does have some experience on that team and Lion is fully newly formed, so they've never been how can you say playoff tested. So that plays a
Yeah,
factor as
and
well.
you're pretty much just relying on what Core JJ and Yon and Quid. Like Yon and Core JJ have looked like most of Team Liquid have looked pretty off. Honestly, they like I agree with you. I don't even know what the logic was of grabbing Jose Diodo. He wasn't even like
Um
Jose Diodo's been all right
I
throughout
mean,
his
he would.
career. You know,
He's all right. He's familiar with the LCS. He's a me personally. I wish they could grab closer. I mean, closer. I think is still was, but I don't know if he took. I know he took a break,
yeah, we
but
haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah, yeah.
I think it was just that he's a familiar face and he's been in the LCS ecosystem, so that's
Hmm.
kind of why. But I mean, I'm like I said, Sentinels was a big surprise. And they do have the experience of Impact, and they have like other experienced players. So I can see Sentinels making it, but I think it's gonna ultimately. I see probably Lions 3-1, Sentinels 3-2, and then I know
The
this is
Cloud
going
Nine Sentinels final. Jeez, good lord.
3-0. I think that's a 3-0 again, or maybe a
Yeah,
3-1.
yeah. I mean, there's a good if Inspired is on form, there's a good chance Lion could make the finals. But even if they do, I don't see them winning though. You
Yeah,
know.
because I think with if Lion wins that game, and let's say they win the next game, they have so much games to review, like
Mhm.
his passing. They can review the draft and kind of see how they can manipulate. C9 can manipulate them to get picks that they like. Oh, we grab the. You think you could grab like I don't know the Rise, but we take the Anivia, which is a hard counter, right? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Or like, oh, we blinded the Zahen, but he's not going top. He's going jungle, the Mbessa. So it's really depending upon like C9 has the biggest advantage, but they also have a disadvantage because they're going to be what, maybe waiting a week and a half before they play, so they
Yeah,
could.
you're right. Let me see. So they're so like the 22nd. That will be what, Sunday. Their next final match isn't until the first of the month. So essentially,
A week and a
yeah,
half. Yeah. So
yeah. You're
so
right.
they
Yeah,
so they could be cold feet too. So they might. Don't be surprised too if, let's say, Sentinels win game one because they just haven't played any games, and also who we don't even know who C9 might be scrimming also Lion. So Lion might be getting good practice or vice versa with TL.
right. Mhm.
So it really depends, but I see C9 all the way.
Yeah, like this is one of those LCS splits, like with the last like four of them, where it kind of feels like there's just kind of one team. But to be fair, last year when FlyQuest was the best team, there at least was Cloud9 for most of it until they fucking imploded in summer for some reason. At least you had like Cloud9 challenging FlyQuest most of last year. This year, it kind of feels like I don't honestly know which one of these guys does that. Because if Cloud9 doesn't get a meaningful person to challenge them internationally, it's gonna not look that good in my opinion, because like I said before earlier, you just end up developing a lot of bad habits, and then you don't get a good enough practice, and then you just kind of look, getting fisted on stage. But I do see Cloud9 kind of winning it. I like to be honest with you guys, I don't see really any other team kind of doing it at the moment. I think Lyon. If I were to predict right now before we do the show next week, or whoever's going to be here next week, wink, wink, I think it'll be a Cloud9 Lion final. Like Team Liquid, I am just not a fan of this iteration of this roster. I am just not. They're such just this is a meh team. Like Morgan, I'm like, why is he here? Like importing Morgan in 2026 is actually insane. Jose Diodo makes sense, like what Warren said. Cheap, you do see the upside in him. I think he can have a lot of big upsides to him. Like he's not mechanically an awful player though. Quid can be the best mid laner, but there's some weeks where Quid just is not there, honestly. He doesn't really play sometimes, honestly. Yannick or JJ, we've kind of seen them at this point. The fact that this is still a bot lane is just ridiculous at this point. We've kind of seen them, play at their peak at this point now. Sentinel's roster is kind of the same thing. Like, I do think, because I know a lot of people have talked about the Vayne controversy with the draft pick. Guys, they could have picked anybody else. It really wouldn't have mattered. They were losing anyway, Like, and keep in mind, I do think a roster like this one has a tendency, from what I've seen in the past, to kind of basically start strong, but then kind of falter throughout the years when teams that are a little bit more better kind of come together. But yep, that wraps it up with the LCS currently. We're going to go to the LEC, and then we'll talk about what Warren's opinion is going to be on first stand that he wanted to go over with you guys, actually. So let's go over some of these games. So where did we
Oh
even end
Lord.
off last week? These
LEC, what a joke that was. Oh my god.
Where do you even
People
where do you even start with this one? I don't even know.
people are living rent free, man. Like, Jesus Christ. It was like I
This
saw those
region is
games, bro.
ass, dude. This region is horrible. This region's bad.
Not
That's
even
not it. We're
horrible.
not.
They're making like CB lol mistakes. It's like, what are you doing, man?
This
Like
shit
with
is ass, dude. Dude, I'm not even lying. This is probably. I know people say this. To me, this is the worst split in a long time. This is bad, dude. From the
no,
regular season, it was bad.
there's
This is
positive.
not good. I mean, yeah. There's positives here and there, but overall, it's been. Oh
The
god, man, these
fact
games are
that
hard to
Fnatic is
watch,
not
dude.
the fact that Fnatic is not even in the
Oh,
semifinals
they
says
deserve it. They deserve it. Their team's bad. Their team's ass, dude. Like, okay, so where did we leave off last week? So last week we left off around, yeah, we predicted for this match. So we be at right here. So we be at the Vitality this one. So GX beat Heretics. Fnatic ended their season by losing to Vitality. Navi actually lost to MKOI. G2 beat Karmine Corp. Karmine, and then Navi lost to GX. Karmine Corp ended up beating Vitality. And then we had a situation with the Chrono Break where something happened. It's been like a few weeks. I did forget. I'm sorry, but like maybe Warren can correct me. A Chrono Break situation happened where Vitality could have won that game, but they ended up
Oh
losing
yeah.
it. So that put them in a
Yeah,
lower bracket. Like
yeah,
fucking hell.
they after that chrono break, I forgot it was like near bot lane or something, and they
Yeah,
chrono break,
yeah.
and then after that they just started losing. I was like, a chrono break did that to you? What the hell's wrong with you? Don't even
Holy
get
shit.
me started on the G2 MKOI game. That was
God,
just, I don't
don't
know
even.
what.
dude. They're the worst games. I need to show you guys this Vitality Fnatic game. I actually almost people were looking at me when I was riding the bus to work. Almost died of laughter watching this ass game. This was horrible on levels I don't even want to show you, but I'll show you in a moment here. So what's crazy about Fnatic is their season's over because we can go over the LEC now more in depth. So Fnatic ended up losing both their best of threes to both their former mid laners, Poby and Humanoid. I'm not making that up. That actually happened. They lost to players they willingly got rid of. I understand why they got rid of Humanoid. That made perfect sense because he was mentally just not there on their team. Poby's made no sense, actually. They got rid of that guy for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and he ended up just completely just stomping them out of the playoffs. So I'll just kind of then after that, like G2 did end up 3-0ing MKOI. So now essentially the last teams here are GX, Karmine Corp. MKOI is awaiting this match's winner, and then G2's in the final. So I'll be honest here, guys. G2 is I know people said they were a 7th seed where they understandably so they were 7th because they were playing like ass. They were like not good in the regular season, but that's the problem with best of ones. As you know, Warren said this for a lot of years too. Like best of one just kind of give you a really bad read on a team. Was G2 really a 7th place team? Were they?
I mean, they were playing
They were
pretty
bad.
poor in
I
the
agree with you.
beginning, and then
Yeah,
they
they were playing
ramped
bad.
up.
Mm-hmm.
They did
Yeah.
ramp up, and they managed to make playoffs. And I think that may have been like a set of fatigue, trying out new drafts, because I think they did experiment a lot with different drafts because they're
Oh,
looking
yeah, you're
towards the
right. Yeah.
future. They're looking towards the future. They're like, well, we can't play this late game style. We got to try some other things for like you said, the international events. So that could have played a factor. But I mean, the thing is, I think G2 now, if Skumon and Caps are not doing their thing, I just don't think they win games.
No, yeah. And what's crazy is what does that send to a message in the teams in the LEC that basically G2 could. What's crazy is, guys, this is actually crazy how dominant G2's been in the LEC forever. This is the first year they actually were in a situation where they almost didn't make playoffs. Beside
Fnatic.
2020 summer, remember how like Perse's dad died and they were losing some games, and if they didn't beat Rogue in that series, they would have not made playoffs. This is the second time they almost didn't make playoffs. And this is actually the first time they came in as the lowest seed possible. So for the most years, like you said with Fnatic, G2 and Fnatic are usually like competing for first through fourth, debatably.
Right.
Generally so,
Like
interchangeably.
typically the bottom screen would either be like Fnatic KC or
Yeah.
like it'd be Fnatic KC, not GX. Like I think GX had a I'll get into GX later, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's also one of these things where G2 essentially, I agree with you. Maybe they're at this point now where they're thinking like, hey, LEC is so free. We can kind of just get 7th seed, win one match, make playoffs, and then just kind of run the whole playoffs. Because that what's that 4-3? They've 7-0. There's a good chance if they win this final matchup coming up this weekend,
Wait, but
10-0.
the thing is that Karmine Carp, they could have won that game and they could have pushed it to another series. They threw that game. So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
deceptive 2-0 because they were coming back because they had Seraphine, Cassante,
Mm-hmm.
Ash, and I forgot who was the mid laner in the jungle. And I think they had Xin Zhao. Do you remember the they could have won that game and have forced a game 3, and I think G2 would have dropped to the bottom, and I think Navi would have beaten G2, or I think Navi would have beaten G2 because I think
To me, it
Navi.
looks like Navi got the pressure of playoffs that hit them. Because you remember Sam D giving that interview talking about like, yeah, I think people are kind of overrating us a little bit. We are kind of a rookie roster, and this is what happens in playoffs when you have like more of a rookie
Well, at
roster.
least he's
Like,
honest.
yeah, and that, but I agree with him. That's true though. Like it happens with a lot of rookie teams. Like even in the I don't know, a random team in the NFL or NBA will do well, and then people just kind of super overrate them, and then when it comes to playoffs, they kind of bomb out, or not like bomb out, or they don't do as well as they thought. You know, we're now at a point where, hey, Navi, I'll be honest here. I know you lost in the playoffs. I know you had a massive good chance to maybe may make the finals or get further. looking at where Navi was last year and that last summer split with Larson and all that bullshit versus where they're at now, you can look at it and go, okay, that's progress here. Now we can build on that. You guys got a chance to play what, like 3 series in playoffs. Now you guys understand how the
But
pressure is.
I think Roulette got exposed though.
Yeah. Oh, or I was gonna say their top laner though. I don't think their top laner is that good.
Yeah, Maynter got exposed too because if he's not on like a tank or something, he's
He's
not
just
like
yeah.
he wasn't really carrying on the Rumble and Roulette. He was doing okay on Jarvan, but
Arles,
uh
what's up, buddy? But
he
yeah, what did you want to say about GX's? I'll be honest with you, I still don't think GX is that good. I literally think it's just Noah and Jun. That's
I
it.
think I think GX so I think GX tried too much in the earlier season, or they would have had a better record. They play when they play simple stuff. I know it sounds corny, it's generic, but when they play simple stuff, they're a really good team. And the thing is that Jackie's needs to be a bit more. He does a lot of silly things. What I mean is like he might bush
Mm-hmm.
check, he might get caught out in a side lane, and it's like, dude, you're off the map for 30 seconds. So now, or let's say 25, 30, 40 seconds, that's tempo that the enemy team gets. And then there's also Isma. He makes some plays that can be questionable here in times. And like you see obvious things where he should be covering for say Noah June because that like let's be honest, GX is a better fanatic this year. Let's just be honest about that. That's literally what they
Yeah.
are.
Or
Um,
I'll help with the asterisks too. They're a better Fnatic right now because pending on what happens in spring and summer, they could start faltering. But no, right
yeah,
now it's crazy to say that GX is better than them. That's
but
crazy. But you're
but
right. That's true though.
on the upside, GX is ramping up, right? Because everybody kind of had Navi making the at least semifinals, right? Because of
Yeah.
how they played. So the fact that they beat Navi, I think a lot of teams are going to be like, maybe we shouldn't underestimate this team
Mm-hmm.
because let's be honest, a lot of people thought GX was going to get 2-0, not the reverse sweep, right? So I think GX, if the thing is, if Lot can stay alive against Kana without or go even, and then if Jackie's can handle Yehu fine, I think they win because Kana is really can he can play tanks, he can play carries, and I do think that Noah June, depending upon what picks they get, they can beat Busio, but it really depends on the draft. The thing is, fearless, which is what I like, is it's taking people out of comfort zones. So now we have to see how best of fives um work out because you know the I think Scion has been just the best pick, right? Because he neutralizes Rumble, he
Yeah.
neutralizes even Gwen. Because remember, Lot had played Gwen, and the
Mhm.
Scion just literally stand in front of the team when he got, and they couldn't do anything. Like it was like this guy was Thanos and Ultron and Loki all together. Like they couldn't do
That's true
anything.
Exodia right there.
True Exo, like he literally
Yeah.
stood there and did nothing. And remember, Gwen is supposed to has true damage, is supposed to shred and all that stuff.
Right, right.
And then if you're dumping all your resources into the Scion in the sense of all your ults and everything, that means they could just say, okay, you're down ults, boom, we win the fight. So the Scion pick is important. The Rumble pick is important. And I think
Mhm.
also the Mbessa pick is important. So I think top lane has been more important than people actually want to give because we've
I mean, we
seen
saw it in the G2 game. The G2 game against MKOI, it was was it the Gwen game? There was a Gwen game that Broken Play had where he was just like absolutely curb stomping the shit out of people. Like after just straight up just raid boss running people through. So if your top laner can make a difference, that is valuable in this patch because Knock Knocko, even though Knock Knocko is not in the LEC currently right now because Vitality is eliminated, people will literally said Knock Knocko is the best top laner. Guys, Knock
yeah,
Knocko
they
completely ran through people. Absolutely,
yeah.
just he proved like what you just said. If your top laner is that good, that can completely change the game. Like I'll show you guys what that looks like in a moment here. But no, continue.
Yeah, so and then I think I've seen Kalis make a lot of mistakes than I like sometimes Yike and Busia have been a little bit off sync in their game. So I think if Kalis and Busio and Yai can like get their stuff together, they probably will win. But again, I think when it comes to team fighting, I think GX, and remember, look how many games GX has played, right? Like, if you scroll up from the top, like GX lost, so they played two, right? Then they
Hmm.
played another three. I mean,
Yep.
let me do the math. So there's two,
Per-
5, 7. So they've played the most games out of anyone, and they've got a decent amount of experience now in the playoffs. So we'll see how Gil, and also Gielto needs to work on his drafts, man. That guy be doing some drafts like for instance, here's what I mean. They picked Orn, right? Tell me why Navi. All Navi had to do, Braum was open. If they pick Braum, Orn can't play the game. All Braum has to do is put up on Unbreakable, and when he does his Orn Horn and puts his shield, it literally cancels it out. I'm like looking like, wait a minute, you have Braum available, who and it had like multiple melee and a decent engage, but you don't take the Braum. Like I don't understand how these people have these jobs. Like it just, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, am I
I'll show
wrong?
you this. I'm gonna show you this draft, and I want you guys to. I showed the same draft to the Fnatic superfan guy Matt Scott earlier. There is no way you guys will convince me that other people can't do this job better. There's no way when I show you this draft, you're willingly gonna go, man,
Bro,
that's
like
actually cooking.
I don't understand. Like, if you're gonna have a hyper carry comp, why are you not pairing
Mhm.
Seraphine with Ivern? Do you know how unplayable that game is to deal with Daisy and Seraphine?
Dude, it was, and then Vital. I don't know. I'm not saying I know anything, guys. I'm just speaking this allegedly. In Vitality's make or break game to advance to the next round to get to the best of fives, their 80 carry, which is one of the best players on our team. They said you're allowed to play Seraphine. Who cooked in that draft? Who made that draft?
I get the idea because in a long drawn out sustained fight, Seraphine is annoying as hell to deal with, right?
Mhm.
But again, you have to get ahead and you have to get to the late game too. And I think that, granted Karzi, I think honestly Karzi is probably the second best or third ADC in LEC. I've seen
Yeah,
he's done very he I cannot say Karzi is bad. I think the only question mark is Linksys, but that he's relatively still new. But fair enough to the kid. So we'll see how he does in the next.
yeah, Lince's he wasn't really that good up until, well, yeah, just this split. Like he was looking pretty off those, because like it was looking like, dude, why is this guy in the LEC? This split, I will say, if he plays like this, like he does in the next split and the summer split, I'll say you can have your LEC spot, because he actually played good. It's weird to see them out, because you guys know me, I'm the number one Vitality hater around here, and they've been ass for God knows, well, forever. Honestly, I
Since
saw like
20
what.
until 2018, that was the last time they were relevant.
Yeah, minus 2018, they've been fucking pretty useless, actually. And I do think they have a good team. I think they finally cracked what a good team is for them. But the thing is, your final draft looking like that, it's like, oh my
Well, let's
God.
see the
Like,
draft. I don't know.
yeah, let me bring it up right now, actually. Give me 1 second here. But before we get to that one, I'm going to bring it up right now. This is the Fnatic Vitality game, too. Now, I don't usually like saying these kind of things, but what's his name? Imprios? Fnatic went
Imperials.
Imperios. Yeah. So Fnatic went, you know what? I actually think Oscarinen sucks. It's like Fnatic, we all knew that too. That's not a surprise. But then they bring Imprios in. Imperios. He's not good himself. They didn't move anywhere. They didn't get any better. They didn't
See,
change shit. They're
well,
the same player.
here's this problem. Their draft is so disjointed
Yeah,
right
this is the
here.
stuff I want to show you. You will not convince me this is good. And I know people on Twitter agree with me. I know it's not real life. I know. But look at Grab says did the same draft at Worlds 2025 too. You remember back in Worlds last year where he picked Ezreal into Sion and Sejuani? Remember that? Guys, look at this. Ezreal into Cassante and Aatrox. People say MSK. Aatrox isn't a tank. Aatrox is going to build items where Ezreal cannot shred through that guy fast enough. If you want to play a comp like this, you need a Philios who's
Or
open.
Tristana.
Tristana, Philios, Zaya. You need Ezreal cannot shred through that. That is
Kog'Maw
impossible.
even.
anyone not Ezreal. I swear you could. No, I'll say Quinn. I'm joking, guys. Not Quinn. I'm joking. But like literally, there's so many good ADCs open. Literally, you could have picked Caitlyn, and that would give you at least something to start these guys with. This is the second time I've seen Fnatic pick a comp with Ezreal with 2 tanks there. He cannot tread through tanks. It is not possible. I don't know why Grabs thought you could do that when last year at Worlds they proved they can't do that. You can't play Ezreal in these situations. Also, Rise will lock him down. People say Ezreal has his E. Doesn't matter. Karma is going to speed up Rise, so he's just going to be able to root you anyway. Jhin, longer range. Aatrox can definitely make Ezreal misposition so he can not shoot him correctly. And obviously, since Naka was fisting Emprios, well, that's what Cassandra does. Big, giant black man running at you. So that would be like, what?
Oh
Section 8
Lord,
housing? Oh,
next. Thank you.
oh,
Thank you.
Warren, I thought you were fun. Oh, my God.
I am, but I don't
Oh,
need to
God.
have visual images. Thank you.
Dude, anything is better at this moment. I don't get how they ended up with a draft this bad. This is
Well,
horrible.
I have to. I here's my biggest gripe about the pro scene. I'm so sick and tired of them saying we're hiding stuff. Bro, I'm not hiding stuff. Like when they say hide stuff, they're hiding picks for the like I think that they probably wanted to pick Saya, but they thought that they could get away with Ezreal. That's
Mhm.
what I mean. And I'm so sick and tired of pro teams doing that. Like pick comps that you know are gonna win. And yes, the enemy team is gonna see them. Teams are gonna watch you. That's just the nature of the game. The same thing
Right.
happens in professional sports. If you have a certain type of offense you run, they're just gonna look at the tape and they're gonna but you adapt and you try to make it different. So that even if they try to analyze what you're doing, you're just better, right? So I think that's the problem they had there. It's like, why are you doing this? And now let's play devil's advocate too. Maybe this comp worked in their scrims.
Yes. We can off. Yes.
We could I'm gonna
And
play
if this
devil's.
comp worked in a scrim, we know that was against like shifters or something. That wasn't against no one
No,
legit.
no, I mean shifters is at like Oivo and Pan trying to
Yeah,
right now.
if you draft this in solo, if you draft this in scrims and it works, that means that team was not good. I'm saying that right now. That team ran it down with you because a big problem with this game also is Alistar. Alistar can't do anything unless you are winning early with this comp. You have to hard stop win early with this comp for it to
No,
actually win.
Alistar isn't engaged. I think it's just weird synergy because Jarvan is really what sets it up, right? Because if
Mhm,
Jarvan gets the his cataclysm and then you have three people and then you get a three-man knockup by uh by Alistar, okay, it works, but that ideal situation is like the problem I have with Fnatic is
mhm.
they can't they just got a new team. Like Loop uh
Lospa.
uh Luspa, Imperios, they're kind of rookies. Like you shouldn't be. This is a hard to execute comp. Like if I could even like
Do you know what
that's
my logic always was? I always told people, why can't you play a simple comp? Why can't you play like Malzahar, shit like that? Which stuff? It's point and click. People say, but Malzahar's too simple. Oh yeah, like Annie takes skill to play. Like what? No, I
like
I, I don't care. Like, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no. I was gonna agree with you, and I think my thing is that there's other, like for instance, instead of I think the problem is Zahin can just like look what the Zahin got to deal with. He has to deal with a Jin that has fleet footwork with a Karma that's moving, a Rise that's gonna have phase Russian moving, a Cassante that's gonna be moving around, a Aatrox that can literally once he has to get to the back line, it's like world ender, here I come. So it's like how do you play this game? And it's not like the only really mobile people is maybe Jarvan and Ezreal. That's it.
Yeah. And then you look at how Fnatic has played this game out. This is a must-win game. They have to win this to keep their series alive and playoffs hopeful alive. You see Lospa's diving in, no coordination with any follow-up. And keep in mind, this team doesn't really have follow-up outside of, like we said, Jarvan is the main guy of that. Alistar loses value in this game the more it goes on because of all the snares and CCs that Jin and Rise both have. And it got to a point in the game, they were at this dragon where it was just the two of them. It was Linsis and good lord. It was just Linsis and Nako, and they staved off Fnatic with two people. It's like, what in the fuck? I watched this live. I was like, wow, this team is horrible. I want you guys to look at what we saw
You
live
have
here.
their jersey though.
Yeah, I buy jerseys to look fly in front of women, and when women love me, that's
You have
how it works.
Fnatic jerseys though.
Yeah, because I like look like you always got to look fresh. You always got to look good. You got to mog women now. That's what they say. You got to mog girls. No, but so what's crazy is Vital what's his name? Humanoid loses 1v1 top lane, and you're thinking like, okay, this is Fnatic's opening to kind of win the game because they lost a man. Then for some reason, Fnatic loses a 4v2 at the Dragon, then Linces steals it, and then they lose their top laner there too. This is just bad. This is completely unacceptable. How in the world could this be a possible thing? They didn't even have the mid laner. The rise in the Vitality's comp is very key in stopping Alistar, stopping Anivia, stopping Jarvan. The main component of Vitality's comp is gone, and Fnatic still lost this. Like, but don't worry, guys. We got Ezreal, the tank shredding ADC Ezreal, right? It's like, holy fucking shit. And it was top gap. I'm not saying it wasn't top gap. I'm not saying Nako didn't completely fist this guy, but it's one of these things where it's like, how can you play this comp out? Like we said, unless you win so hard early game, this is just an awful comp. Also,
it's hard to execute.
Yeah, you can't. It's almost impossible. If the game goes 20 minutes, you aren't winning anything unless Vitality straight up throw everything, every lead.
I mean, to be honest,
KT style, you know.
Fnatic's comp looked really solo queue. That's the way I looked at it. So.
Yeah, and Razork has had these issues for a while, which is crazy. I think Razork is turning into basically what Hylissang was for Fnatic, unlike his very last years on the org, where he can either solo win you a game or solo lose you a game, which makes him now at this point insanely inconsistent. But he doesn't have that X factor to him anymore. Now he's just bad. Now he's just completely just straight up running it down. He's actually just bad at this point now, which is awful.
They had 2 rookies though, so that plays a factor. And I'm not saying
that maybe the rookies don't agree on with him how to play the game too. Maybe that's how it's affecting him too. It could be a lot of things at this point now.
Yeah, I mean, Vladi is not bad.
He's definitely a downgrade from Poby. I will say that. Looking at it, I don't get why they got rid of him. That just makes no sense at what they did. You know.
Yeah, but I don't know either.
But Fnatic season is done. Just like with FlyQuest Fnatic, you need to think. You need to, just like when you teach a kid, don't throw things at your siblings. You need to sit down and think about what you did wrong. That's what you need to do, Fnatic. You got rid of Poby for Vladdy, and Vladdy, he minus first stand in the winner split he won last year. He's been showing diminishing returns too. Wasn't Vladdy the worst? Like if you look up just statistical stats, was he like the worst in everything? Like bottom in everything. Like Drake's Fnatic were the bottom in. Like they have a very badly constructed team right now.
I think he was at least top 5. He wasn't below 5, but he wasn't top 3. He was just.
And they paid a lot of money for this guy. We heard he was worth quite a bit of money because Karmine Corp is not selling you players for cheap. You know, so
yeah. So,
but yeah. What did you want to say about any other teams now? Because this season is over for most teams. We only have what Giant X, Karmine Corp, MKOI. Oh, MKOI, another team who, was power ranked to be like a top 4 team. They've looked really bad themselves. Like, and I wouldn't say bad. They look like their issues are just never going to get fixed unless they do like a couple of player changes, actually,
I mean, the core 4 have been together for the most part, right?
Yeah. And keep in mind, Merwin did say that they were not trying to keep him in the offseason, and they didn't even like re-sign Supa, I remember. So those are players that could be gone pending the results of their year right now. Because Karmine Corp GX, in a best of 5, I would say Karmine Corp wins this one, right? Like what, 3-1? They probably win, I would say, for Karmine Corp. I think if Karmine Corp face MKOI, I think Karmine Corp win that. I think Karmine Corp win 3-1, and I think Karmine Corp loses to G2 in the finals. That's what I would say. But keep in mind, Karmine Corp could win the finals too, because keep in mind, last year in winter, they did beat G2 in the finals too. So Karmine Corp, if you want your only chance to win a split again this in a whole calendar year, you can beat G2 right now. Because G2 is beatable. There's no way you can convince me G2 is not beatable. It's like, come on. But if G2 wins the split, seventh place, beating Fnatic to make the playoffs, when you have to win that game, which it's Fnatic, they were going to win that game. It's fucking Fnatic. Fnatic is free. Then they just kind of beat everyone to this point. I don't even know why you would try in the LEC when at the end, what's that meme? All roads lead back to G2. You kind of want G2 not to win the split, but it's like, there's no way I could believe they won't win the split. There's no way I could believe that right now. But, what do you think, man? Who do you think wins it after this week?
It really depends. I think MKOI just got to tidy up a few things. That series should have went to 5 games, not 3. GX, like I said, they're ramping up, and I think that they may have some picks. I think
Mm-hmm.
Seraphine and Ash is now going to be the power pick
Mm-hmm.
because of how with the CC she has the cooldown on Hawk, the arrow, her ult. Don't be surprised if like at some point one of the teams goes Seraphine, Ash. I think it comes down for the GX Carmine Clark. If Lot doesn't let Kana destroy him, they can win
Mm-hmm.
because Kana can pop off. Kana's a good. I think we could both agree Kana is like the second best top laner
Yeah,
under
he's still good. He's still very good. Yeah.
under Nako, right? So then it's like, okay, so then so that means Yehu has to step up if Kana gets neutralized, and if June and Noah can survive the 2v2, or if they lane swap, I think it could go to 5 games. But I think if Busio pops off, I think it's a 3-1. So I mean, me personally, I'd like to see a different org. Like it'd be great to see GX. They've been like the kind of the dollar store version of Rogue. Like they've been here for a long time and haven't made a finals. They were XL
Unless you
previously,
count them as XL, they made what, one finals ever?
one
But
finals ever
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
So like it'd be great to see a new team because we've seen MKOI before. But I mean,
Mhm.
most likely it's a toss up. I can't really pick between MKOI and KC because they've been a little bit inconsistent towards
Especially
it.
MKOI. Like, I feel like MKOI, because you used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, so you're gonna know what this reference is. Do you know, like, there was those Yu-Gi-Oh decks back in the day where, like, if they would go off, it would look really beautiful when they would go off, but if they don't go off, it looks very bad. That's what MKOI is to me. MKOI is a Yu-Gi-Oh deck where you go off, it looks beautiful, but if you don't go off, you look kind of bad. I I don't know. Their team is so odd. Like, Merwin is not having a good season so far, in my opinion. I think El Yoya's been all right. He's been like all right to good. Jojo Pion's been all right to good, depending on the game series. The bot lane's been all right to good. It's just like, if because it always feels like MKOI and Karmine Corp are like the benchmarks of like a top 4 team. We'll have to see, because GX could do the funniest thing, guys, right now and make the finals. Do
Make the
I
Cinderella run. So
do I think it's gonna happen? Oh, I don't know. Probably not. But if they got third place, I think you can. That, to be fair, if they got third place, that would be better than how they finished last year, because last year they couldn't beat a top 4 team. So if they beat a top 4 team right now, that looks better than what they had last year. So who knows? I don't think it's possible, but anything's possible. It's also possible I have sex with my wife tonight. You never know, guys.
okay, yeah.
All right, no fun warring again. Oh God, okay. Um, all right. So what did you want to say about first stand coming up?
All right, so first stand, all these like I don't know. Actually, they just announced. I don't know if you saw on Wikipedia. They just announced a new tournament for the Esports Nation. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, so many tournaments announced now. So
20,
like,
20, 29 teams now is gonna be. Did you see the news?
yeah, so it was didn't essentially, like, ERLs got bought by Saudi Arabia essentially.
I don't know. Don't care about Saudi. Not to
Yeah,
sound like a
so
dick.
let me bring it up, because like I did see it, and because it actually goes into question, like, that's a lot of tournaments though. I could understand having one or two more tournaments, because I like, CS:GO and like other team and other esports, they got like a lot of tournaments though. Like, if you guys don't know, if you play Smash Brothers competitively or CS:GO and all, these guys have these, or esports, you would say, they got tournaments all the time though. It's not just like what League
Well,
has,
I can I can I can answer that. So I think the thing is that League thought that MSI and Worlds were just gonna always bring in them the fans.
Yeah.
and they realized that when they took rid of Rift Rivals, they took rid of the IEMs, they took rid of, I think, I'm trying to think about, no, yeah, IEMs and Rift Rivals were
Hmm.
like their supplement tournaments, right? And yeah, they were like, there was like two IEMs and like, and the Rift Rivals. So they took those away, right? So now for a long time, until like last year, it was only MSI and what you call it, Worlds, and we had
Hmm.
nothing to watch. And then they realized that a lot of people have grown up. So if we have no tournaments to watch, which a lot of people love the international play because we get to see,
Yeah, that gets all the viewership. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we get to see like Gam, who people like, even though they're not the best. Or know what I mean? I mean,
Why
not
you
that they're
always?
bad.
Why does Warren always backhand comp? Warren gives you a compliment and so he's like, you know what? I think you look good, but your shoes look like shit. You
Yeah,
always do that. Oh
yeah,
my god.
because people like Gam, but there's not. It's not like Gam ain't making it to quarterfinals
Oh,
of.
dude, Gans may
Uh,
making finals, dude. Come on, dude. What are you talking
yeah, yeah, egg roll. Anyway,
about? Oh god, no.
yeah, anyway, so, people like Gam, people like, yeah, exactly. So they, I think Riot realized that in order to get their IP out now, because remember they have other games coming out, right? They
It's true.
have they have the MMO coming out. They just released TXKO, I think, as well.
Two XKO.
So,
Yeah, that
yeah,
and that's been having, some problems there with
so
how they're distributing
they're
it. Mhm.
trying to get their IP out as much as possible. They did BTS. You're not wrong. I will admit that. They're trying to get the IP out, and also what have a lot
It,
of
I
a
guess.
lot like, also a lot of teams don't make MSI. So we might see a team that, like, for instance, KC made first stand, but they didn't make MSI or Worlds.
Right. And they do bring come on, I don't like KC pretty much at all, but they do bring in a lot of viewers. They just do.
They
It's
bring in
just
a lot. So
yeah.
I think it's all about, like, sometimes some tournaments we might not get the team we want, but if we can get them, that's more revenue, that's more viewership. So I think in the long run, it's a play to get more people to watch them, and they
Right.
realize that they need them. So am I against first stand? No, but I just think it's kind of like a haha. You guys took it away, because from like, I think from like 2019 to about like 2024, there was no tournaments. There was only MSI and Worlds. That's it.
Yeah. Outside of when they cause Riot wanted to basically just, have all the other stuff be in-house. After basically, like you said, IEMs went away, those little like I mean I guess you count they tried Rift Rivals for a few years, but that didn't work because I think Riot really messed up on that badly.
Yeah,
Outside
they
of
did.
IEMs and Rift Rivals, no, it's been pretty much just MSI and Worlds.
And
Keep in mind,
Worlds
MSI originally, I mean,
was
minus
one team only until they added
yeah,
two teams.
yeah, and MSI's quality always varied. I mean, the best one that people liked up un- up until was with
Was
the G2 Super
2023?
Team. It was the G2 Super Team one that I know a lot of people like that one, but like after that, it was what 2023 MSI that a lot of people liked because
That was
that's
the
when they
yellow.
introduced the double elimination, right? MSI took time to get better. It didn't start out the greatest, and it's because they hedged everything on Worlds, and I understand why. I get it, but this is not how other esports function though. Like CS:GO has
Right.
like a bunch of majors all the time to win trophies, and viewership, as Warren has pointed out, is always biggest at international events. And keep on, guys, I don't give a fuck if you only think Worlds is what matters. International events is what matters, and winning international events is what matters. And if you, to be fair, the only discrediting thing that I'll add here, and not against your point, it's mostly like if they're adding in all these tournaments and Korea and China still win, that just kind of proves the West sucks. I'm just pointing out there's more chances for you to win, and if you still suck, we'll know because they're always going like, well, if we had another chance to fight them or take them on, then we'd win, right, bro? We would just win, bro. All right, there you go. More tournaments for you. Prove it right now, then you're gonna get them. Um, because I'm trying to figure out where's that ERL tournament that they announced that's going to be also incorporated with the LEC too, because they announced another one with the LEC. So I don't know if they're going to have first stand go away and maybe like this is gonna be introduced. I don't know, but I think
Oh,
the
that's what versus was. Versus was basically the teams that win, the top two teams that win, like I think this because EA Masters runs twice a year, I believe, right?
yes.
So I think it's the second round or the first round. I don't know. The top two teams are the teams that get invited to LEC to participate in the 12 team for the verses. So I think the LEC versus was that. So I think they're still gonna continue it. I mean Carmine, Carp Blue kind of got raffle stomp, but it is what
We
it
knew that
is.
was gonna happen though. We always heard this when we were doing the show years ago. People said, "Well, dude, if you allow that fucking challenger team to come into the league, they'll just stomp people." No, they didn't, guys. Carmen Corp Blue looked like crap. They didn't stomp anyone. We actually lost time on our lives watching them play. That's what happened, actually. The Esports Nations Cup, like Warren said, we'll just go over the Cliff Notes version of both of these. So this is what got announced. So sources: EMEA Masters is set to connect to the Esports World Cup Winter Edition to include 36 teams. Jesus Christ. BO3, BO5 only, played over multiple weeks, new tournament including all 10 LEC teams. So people have asked, like, well, if the org owners weren't happy with Los Ratones, why would they be happy with this? Because the Saudi owners gave them a lot of money, because money kind of makes people not speak. That's just the easiest way to answer that.
Right.
Saudi owners go, here's $2 million. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear your opinion. And they go, yes, sir. I will shut the fuck up. That's how that works, guys. The reason why they got mad at Los Ratones is because Los Ratones, the owner Cadril, he didn't pay anything. We're not, guys. I know you guys believe communism is actually good. It's not. Okay, it's terrible. It's never been good ever. If all the org owners paid millions of dollars to be in, you gotta come up something. Riot didn't even ask Cadril for like 10. I'd be like, give me $10,000. They didn't even do that. Like, yeah, of course I'd be mad. He's getting it for free and I got to pay millions. No, guys. There's money gets you in the door. And if you don't got money and you're broke and you eat your mom's ass out, that's your thing. No, you
Okay,
make some money.
thanks.
Oh, God, Warren. I thought you were fun. Fucking
Uh,
Warren. Jesus Christ.
Thanks. You're right.
All right. And the Esports Nations Cup announces 32 teams are to participate at the event. The 16 top ranked teams will be invited. Ranking is based on results in global and regional League of Legends events. So this right here tells you, because I know people always say, well, the splits don't matter, bro.
So
All right.
does that
All right.
mean that NA and LPL and LCK will be there too?
I think so. Players earn shared points from official Riot Games competitions, and each nation's total equals the combined points of its top 3 rostered players. So I don't know how this one's gonna go about doing it. They're saying 16 teams. So I don't, because people, and it's also worded here how they're doing at the global events, right? So, and I know a lot of people have always said, well, the spring and winter splits don't matter, bro. It's like, okay, if things don't matter, then why the fuck are you watching then? If things don't matter, then why were you guys mad that Los Ratones is gone? Oh, it's because things do matter. Shut the fuck up. You don't do shit. It's like, oh, nothing matters, bro. Oh, it's only worlds, bro. It's like, shut up. Fuck off. But I don't know how this one is going to be structured, though. I don't know if it's going to be team-based or is it going to be just mostly like players all coming together. I have no idea, because it says it's a 32 team event. The top 16 teams will be invited. Ranks are based off the event, so I imagine it's between teams already constructed, because a lot of people are like composing random rosters, but this is just, I don't know, this is kind of worded a little bit weird, but that sounds kind of odd. And then it's not just this, because I don't know when this is going to take place or when this is going to take. Oh, this is replacing winter moving forward for Europe. So you're going to basically get like, so if you enjoyed LEC versus, you're going to get basically LEC versus times fucking 30 actually with this. We are also getting the America's Cup, which is happening this year. So this year we have First Stand, America's Cup, MSI, Esports World Cup, Worlds. Oh, sorry, that tournament before Worlds. I don't know if they're going to be doing that this year. The one with the Asian teams that don't make Worlds. I like the 4th and 5th seeds, and then Worlds. what I think needs to happen is they need to have events like in the off season. But the problem with having events in the off season is like that's the time that players rest. Actually, like that's like the only time you get a vacation, though. You know, so and Warren is right about this to a certain extent. I think the big problem is like they're cramming so many events, and it's gonna be so hard to follow the not like so hard to follow the international schedule. That's easy, but like how would I say this though? You have this many tournaments. Does that contribute to burnout, or are they going to be shortening the splits and going to internationals? Because I think that's the end goal: is shortening the international splits. Sorry, shortening the domestic splits, and then kind of fast tracking the international tournaments that get you the bigger viewership. I think that's what their goal is. Because domestically things are always going to be kind of what they are. I think Riot's realized that they've kind of peaked domestically with most of these regions, minus like the LCK, which has massive viewership at this point now, at least for the English side too. So yeah, so this year it's gonna be what? First Stand, America's Cup, MSI, Esports World Cup. Oh my god.
World.
ASI then Worlds. Like, god damn, that's a lot of tournaments. Fucking hell. And they added in a tournament for teams that aren't gonna win shit. And they have to win a participation trophy. Hey, you're a second and third place team. I know you didn't actually make it anywhere, but here's something, Worst time for a tournament. Props to the worst time. You didn't make Worlds, and they're like, go play this tournament with this team you didn't win. All right, I guess. But First Stand this year, Warren is correct. We are getting it's 2 LCK teams. That I did know. I just don't know about the other teams.
2 LPL.
There's 2 LPL too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So 2 Korea, 2 China, 1 EMA. So this is all I asked for First Stand. Just have more teams. Last year they just had 5 teams, like some ghetto first MSI event that happened years ago. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, thank God. It's just as long as we don't have the format we had last year for MSI or for a First Stand, I will gladly take it because god damn was the format for that tournament last year some actual garbage. Holy crap. That sounds like they just made some shit up. It's like darts at a wall. Hey, this works. To be fair, you are right. Yeah, FearX did win that tournament last year, and they are doing pretty good currently right now. So, yeah, we'll kind of wrap it up here. But my final point on this, all of it, is pretty much like Riot has kind of peaked domestically with most of these regions now, and they're just kind of looking towards like the Saudis for more money because it costs a lot of money to run these events to fast track getting to more international events because they realize that most of the viewership comes from international events. So, Warren, did you want to say anything else about the stuff you wanted to cover before we head out?
No. I had all the points. I think it was. I'm excited for the playoffs to see what they. I'm actually gonna try to see if I could watch the games at work for LPL because it looks like there's gonna be interesting rounds.
A
So
black guy working, that doesn't exist.
yeah, just like you don't exist.
Oh my god. Oh god. But yeah, guys. Thank you guys for coming by and checking out this episode of the Cloud9 podcast. Just want to let you guys know the MSK show and the Cloud9 podcast are now separated on Spotify. I will update my description box below when that happens. When I let you guys know, because right now I have to currently upload all the seasons up until the newest episodes, like with this one. Same thing with my other show. I have to upload all the episodes up until the newest one. So it's going to take some time, but it is going to be done. I want to say thank you to Warren for coming by. I'm talking to him a little bit. So it's always good to, talk to him. Or remember, people call you, it's crazy. Remember back then, people call you an MCU shill all the time. Good Lord. That was wild.
I mean, I like comics and I just like. I mean, they could say what they want, but I didn't defend it because thought it was good. I defend it because and I just like seeing comic books on the big screen.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like you've heard me call out many of movies and said that this was bad
Yeah.
or
You didn't
I
even like
didn't go.
Phase 5 that much anyway.
Yeah, I never saw Ragnarok. I didn't see the Marvels. So I can't be a shill if I don't go see all the movies.
You
So.
didn't watch the best movie ever, Thor: Love and Thunder? That masterpiece of cinema?
Oh
Masterpiece of
yeah,
shit. What that
and
is.
the glorification of Hemsworth's junk apparently. So
Isn't that funny how the Marvels failed and apparently it was men's fault for the Marvels failing, even though women told us the movie's geared towards them? You guys didn't support that anyway. Why are you lying saying that was for you? You
if
knew
the
you weren't
Marvels
supporting that
failed,
shit.
then Madam Web is a masterpiece.
So thank you guys for coming by and checking out this episode of the Cloud